Welcome to another episode of the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. I'm your host, Steve Casillo. We appreciate you being here today. And today, of course, as we do every Friday, as we talk with our financial philosopher, Phillip Washington Jr. He is the Chief Investment Officer with Stonehill Wealth Management, also the executive producer of his own podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. Today, we're talking about when to be generous, not only with church, not only with nonprofits, but perhaps the guy on the street. Say hello to the Mansfieldites.
How's it going, Mansfieldites? Hope you're doing well this Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, or the Mansfieldians.
Mansfieldians. Yeah. Mansfieldites, Mansfieldians. I think we're probably going to end up settling on Mansfieldites. It feels more, it feels like we won't get involved in any culture wars in the future if we go with
There you go. Today, as we do with all of our 10-minute nuggets of information, and if you're at work right now, you may want to take your 10-minute coffee break right now. We'll let you know when it's time to go back to work. Today is a pretty interesting topic, when to be generous.
Yes.
Now, when I think about this, because you just did this on your Wealth Building Made Simple podcast, and it's like, okay, the average person, the average consumer, they've got their budget, they've got their car payment, their house payment, the blah, 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 and the utilities. But then they also have, I would assume they've got this in their budget, how much to tithe each week when they go to church, how much to be generous. And that includes giving to people they don't know. Mm-hmm. And so let's just get right into it. Let's go ahead and tee it up.
Yeah.
When to be generous.
So you hit it on the nail. Having the budget is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because if you have a big heart, like most people I know who have a big heart, like I could unrestricted, just follow my heart, I'd give away all of our money. Just because I'm always finding people that I care about, that are in need. Even you referenced the Bible, so the poor will always be among you. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be people in need.
That's what I'm here for. I reference the Bible a lot.
And so having the budget is a big start. But then the next thing is give out of desire versus out of obligation. Because if you've ever helped anyone out, there's people that you've helped out financially, and they keep running into the same problem. And every time they ask you for money, they guilt trip you into it. They give you this whole story about, everything that's going bad in their life, and you see it coming. You kind of, first time you might get caught up. Second time you slightly roll your eyes, try not to be disrespectful, right? Because you're like, I'm going to give. And then third time you try to run, and when they find you, you give. And so, but you're like, it's the same problem. And then you try to give some, hey man, maybe, before I do this, maybe you should budget a little bit better. This is, and then they look at you like you think you're better than them, and just demand your money. I call that giving out of obligation, giving because you're guilty. It's the reason why a lot of athletes go broke. Versus giving out of desire is talk about there's one of the formulas for having a wealth mindset is no justification necessary. Really, to be happy, period, is to never need to justify yourself. So you go, all right, in this situation, because there's a book called The Other 90%, which means we only use 10% of our mind. Yeah. I feel like the other 90% is intuition, which we have not, as society, learned to tap into at a high level, right? There's enlightened spiritual teachers. That's what they're teaching, intuition. It's not really as pie in the sky as you think. It's intuition, how to connect the left brain and the right brain, which is kind of in your solar plexus, but that's a whole conversation. But it's what we think of as the left brain, right brain. But I'm saying when you've given out of desire, because you want to, you didn't know why, you just felt like you wanted to give, right? Most of the time, the person's not even asking, right? That's the giving out of the right energy. And then there's giving out obligation, and that's the situation I said before, and it never works out right.
Right. And there are different levels of being generous, again, to your church, or maybe to a nonprofit, or maybe to a family member in need, or to the homeless guy on the corner. Mm-hmm. when to be generous, and is it possible to be over generous?
It's if it's in the budget. So if you've budgeted $10,000 a year to give, and then you give all 10,000, it's not possible to be over generous because you budgeted it. Now it's possible to invest the 10 grand into situations that are going to create resentment by the person receiving it, or is going to be a blessing. And that comes down to, are you giving out an obligation or are you giving out a desire? And that comes down to a feeling, right? I call it the needy energy of kids. We know when a kid is asking out of nervous, needy energy. And then we know when a kid is asking out of, just pure desire, And there's not a parent in the world that wouldn't give anything to their kid within reason out of pure desire. And I think as parents, we confuse the two. We worry about spoiling our kids because some of us give out of needy energy and can't distinguish the two. But there's a clear difference when you stop and think about it. When you give to needy energy, they become spoiled. When you give out of pure desire, you teach them that, hey, go after what you want, right? Ask for what you want. You're teaching them a positive thing. Same thing with giving to people. You want to give out of the right energy.
Well, when my son was in high school, he came to his parents and said, Dad, Mom, to take me to the next level of playing the trombone, I could really use this new shiny, and it wasn't as you said on your podcast, it wasn't nervous energy of I need, and you get, and it's just, no, this was a very sincere. And I believe he owns 11 trombones right now. So I don't know if he still owns that trombone, but we wound up purchasing it for him because, it did take him to the next level. And now, hell, he's working on a doctorate in music right now. So this is something that we knew was his passion. It didn't make him a spoiled child. It was our generosity of helping him get to the next level. Yeah.
It was a good. He matched you matched his vibration.
Yeah, it was a good feeling all the way around.
Yeah. So and I think that's the difference. I have not yet thought of any scientific program or process, right, that can help you distinguish between if they say this it's gonna be a feeling. That's why I say don't worry about justification. If you don't feel like giving, don't give.
Yeah.
If you feel like giving, give. But don't let guilt, obligation, feeling bad influence what you do, because just know out of that feeling is going to lead to resentment by the person you gave to. So you're going to give the money and then it's going to be a waste because they're going to resent you anyway.
Yes. Wouldn't the best person to give the money to be yourself? Invest in yourself.
Yes. But I use the example of if you say, I want to give 10 grand a year, right? Because to me, giving feels good.
Yeah.
I want to give to somewhere where it's going to make an impact, right? And I don't even need to be appreciated, but I don't want to be resented.
And wouldn't you agree that the best giving is when it's done anonymously?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100. Don't let your left pocket know what your right pocket is doing.
I've not heard that quote before, but
and I don't know where I got it from. I feel like it's probably from the Bible too. I just, as when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's a sage.
There you go.
Advice.
If someone wanted to reach out to Phillip Washington Jr. regarding basically how to invest their money, how to be generous, and for any general financial advice, how can they reach out to you?
The best place is wealthbuildingmadesimple.us, our newsletter. Wealthbuildingmadesimple.us.
That's right. That's Phillip Washington Jr. We do this every Friday morning right here on the podcast. And Phillip, it's Memorial Day weekend. I know you're going on a road trip. Have a great time, and let's do this again next week.
I look forward to it, Steve. You have fun.
We appreciate you listening to the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. By the way, if you own a business and you are interested in being a part of the Consumer Advice Series, if you have the knowledge to give information in 10-minute increments to the consumers, shoot me an email to info@aboutmansfield.com. Again, that is info@aboutmansfield.com. We'll tell you how we can get you all set up. Appreciate it. We do it again next week right here on the podcast.